You did it.
Oh my goodness, who knew that it takes 8 minutes to restart a computer?
Really?
Yeah, 8 minutes.
I was a bit fearful because I know what they're like sometimes, but I'm glad you persisted. I'm back in the room.
I was convinced I'd done something wrong, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't understand because I haven't used Zoom today. I did Microsoft Teams earlier, but I mean, I've done that before speaking to you. So,
listen,
gremlins at work.
Yeah, I've got issues with microphones, which I kind of dived into a bit this morning, and then thought, uh-oh, rabbit hole, get out, get out.
Get out while you still can.
Yeah, no, you just lose yourself. Really are black holes, aren't they?
Do you want to hear something funny? So I was up a little bit earlier this morning and I wanted to be calm before my talk and before speaking to you. So I meditated and I had some toast and I did my test call at 9:15 for the talk. And then I made sure I was at my computer at 5 to 10 so that I could call you at 10 o'clock on the dot and not be late.
I did actually. I was scrolling through my emails at lunchtime and I saw it said, because it sends me an email saying so-and-so has joined the call. And I looked at it and I thought, what, today? And then, of course, I think, oh, shit, it's me, I've forgotten. And I'm thinking.
And you darted yourself.
Yeah.
Hold on, that's somebody at the door.
Okay.
All right. Oh, yes, it's been one of those days. And that was a delivery. I've been waiting for Clay. It was supposed to arrive yesterday. And then 1 minute before my talk started today, the doorbell went and the dogs went mad and I went and got a delivery. So anyway, so you darted yourself.
Yes, I did that whole, what day of the week is it? What day of the week
who am I? Where am I?
And then I thought, no, it's Tuesday. I thought, no, we Tuesdays is 4 o'clock. And then Tuesdays is 4 o'clock. That whole Tuesdays is 4 o'clock. Tuesday.
So I sat there and it's like ringing and it says, you'll let me in when you let me in. And I'm thinking, have I got it wrong? And I thought, no, I've got it right. I know it's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. It took I don't know how long I was on for, but it took more than a minute or two before I thought, no, it's the talk first and then it's you.
I've done, I mean, we've all done it, haven't we? I've been on a call with just a not too important call where it's fine. I'm thinking, I've got loads of time. And then I get a message pops up from a client going, have you got the link that I've...
Yeah, are we still speaking at, and it's like...
Yes, no problem. It's fine. I'll be there.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Anyway,
hello, it's nice to see you.
You too. And this is a funny one because talk about memory. I was going to say to you last week.
What memory? Yes.
Yeah. Did we talk about, because I mostly I'm kind of on it. Did we talk about you first, about, prioritizing yourself? Don't laugh.
Yes, it's not just me.
We did, didn't we?
That's so fantastic. I think that was the guilt and resentment talk that we did on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then Friday would have been a follow-on with that, putting me first.
Well, I might have touched upon it, but It wasn't in theory what we were doing.
I know that definitely Friday was very exciting. Friday was, you asked me what a 10 would look like, and then said, imagine for the rest of the week what an 8 would look like. So
yes. And how have you got on with that?
it's really great, actually. It's a really great motivator to make you stop and think, and it's brilliant. We did that on Friday. So it would have been the end of the day. And I don't know if I started on Friday or on Saturday, maybe Saturday. Said to Chris, right, I said, can you feed them this morning? I'll do the afternoon unless you want to alternate. I didn't give him any other options. I just said, you do that or we can alternate. And he said, yeah, that's fine. Because I mean, he doesn't. And then Sunday it was the same thing. And he goes, oh, because he was going out in the morning to see a friend about a bike or whatever. And it was a bit of a, and I just ignored it. And he went and did it. And then yesterday was interesting. I said the same thing. I mean, it irritates me that I have to say it, but anyway, I said the same thing yesterday morning, and he said, well, I've got to go get bread, and then I've got to pop to the workshop first with the car, and then come back and get my bike, because he was going to ride to work. So immediately, without thinking, I said, oh, that's fine, I'll do it. And I said, if you've got that in the morning, then that's fine. He said, yeah, but then I can't do it in the evening, because he was going to go do a click and collect or whatever. And then I think I was brushing my teeth or brushing my hair, and immediately, because I had said I would do it, he didn't force me, and we hadn't discussed other options, I just automatically stepped in. I could feel the resentment riding, but like instant and high, and like anger just like bubbling out here. And I thought, fuck it, I can't spend all day in this state. I just got to say it. And I just said, actually, I said, can you do it? And he said, oh yeah, no, I was going to. So we were, him saying, but I can't do it this evening, then in his head was, so I will do it now, but I hadn't, we didn't communicate properly. And it was great. And this morning I said the same thing, and it is a bit hard making a like, you always do this and I always do that, because it does depend on work and stuff, and now it's it's lighter later. So but if he's happy for me to ask, and he's not saying, oh, you're asking me again, it's just fine. It's almost like he needs instruction.
Oh, I think you'll find 99.9% of men need instruction. It's just how they flow. And they don't get what this thing is with us of unspoken. They just don't get it. And honestly, I could save more relationships if I chose to go into that game, which I don't.
Yeah.
Just by helping people understand that simple thing. Like, if you just tell him what the fuck he wants. Don't wait. He's never, ever, ever going to figure this out by himself. Ever.
Yeah. He never says no, or okay, sometimes when I ask him to have the dogs, he'll be like, no, and then we'll have a fight about it. But the big things, it's not a problem. If I ask, he will do it. If he can do it, he will do it. I mean, if he can't, then there's a reason, and that's fine, because I have reasons I can't sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's been very empowering. It's made me feel more connected to him.
Nice.
It's got rid of a lot of resentment and irritation that otherwise, because really Saturday and Sunday, I mean, he works on a Saturday morning, and really a Saturday and Sunday morning, I could do theoretically, and I could do the afternoon, because at the moment we locked down and I'm home and I'm here all day. But I thought, I don't want to. I want to drink tea and stay in bed and read and play with the dogs and come down and meditate, and then start my day without thinking that I've got to go do that and do it later. So although I could do it, I didn't want to do it, and it was fine.
I love that you said it's been empowering and brought you closer, because what I love about this work is that even though things happen, and they happen often, I never get over the kind of little thrill of surprise and excitement when someone tells me about it happening to them. It's just so nice. And you telling me that story, even though your circumstances are a million miles away, reminds me of someone I worked with quite a long time ago. At the time when I didn't know what menopause was, but she probably was menopausal. She was that kind of age. And her relationship with her husband was close to being completely on the rocks, which was not why she came. But basically, he ran a business, classic, he runs the business and she does pretty much everything.
Everything else.
Yeah. And totally depends on her, but nobody ever says thank you. And nobody ever says, oh, actually, do you mind? You know, she would do all the staying late. He would grump around and be really miserable and bad-tempered and upset all the staff. And she would be going around smoothing it all over.
Yeah.
And she just reached the end of her tether. Anyway, we had a similar conversation about, well, what would you like to be able to say? Like, she wasn't trying to fix any bridges or anything. It was just, I said, what do you want to do? So, you know, classic.
And it does work asking for.
What?
Did she have pushback when she asked for what she wanted?
Well, no, but she didn't ask. That was the thing. We didn't even get into asking. It was just, what do you want for you? So she just started leaving on time and not asking for permission to leave on time or apologizing for leaving on time and going out with friends without permission and drama and second guessing him having a frump and a grump. And one day, and so she'd kind of got to the point of going, actually, my life's quite good. I'm not sure I really need you in it. Well, I think I'll be fine. And she came back one day and he was just sitting in the dark. And she was tempted to ignore him. But she just sat down with him and anyway, had a conversation. She didn't feel like she had to fix him.
Yeah.
And he started paying attention to her and they started dating again. And anyway.
And the interesting thing about that and about my last few days is that they didn't change. We just changed. And we didn't just change, but we just started doing what was necessary for us, what we wanted, without second guessing. You know, she second guessed him, I second guessed Chris.
Yeah.
And neither that man or Chris is putting a gun to my head and being an arsehole, but I'm deciding that this is too much effort or it's going to be hard or I can't or whatever.
Absolutely.
And I know for him, you know, I mean, he's 58 tomorrow. I said to him, you're the oldest husband I've ever had. I've only had him. But he's definitely the oldest partner I've ever had. But, you know, I think, I mean, he is a man and he's white. So he just comes from traditional background where mum does everything and then wife does everything. He was married before and, okay, they weren't happy. So it wasn't that kind of, but I can see how a lot of the womanly stuff, supposedly woman stuff, was left to her.
Yeah,
okay, they were unhappy. It's completely different scenario, and the children and stuff. But I think, especially for men his age group, maybe not the younger ones, it must be. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you need to ask for it. They don't just automatically offer up half.
Yeah, even the younger ones don't. I'm telling you, my son's 30. Still, if I don't, he will say, "Well, what, you didn't tell me? Well, you didn't say."
Oh no, isn't that fabulous? A girl would never say that because we would just be expected to know. But a boy will fall back on, but you didn't say anything, Mom.
Yeah, you didn't ask me to take my feet off the sofa.
Yeah.
And
how was I supposed to know it's Dad's birthday tomorrow if you don't tell me?
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, I'm really glad you've embraced this and you're cracking on because that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And we touched on guilt already. Done the guilt.
Yeah.
Done.
Although guilt and resentment is always good to come back to. You know how you said we come around again. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that coming back on the agenda at some stage.
Yeah, and it will in life.
And it will in other ways, yeah.
It does circle round, but now you are aware of it.
Mm.
You know, everything that we do is really just about elevating awareness so that you can begin by just observing a behavior going, curious.
Mm.
I appear to be doing XYZ.
Mm.
Because that in itself is, it can often, like once you feel totally rock solid in yourself, you have the skills like forever.
Yeah, but it's remembering, it's remembering them, because if you don't practice stuff, you kind of forget, and it is easy to get into a funk and forget all the tools that you've learned and
I
stuff.
know. Yeah.
And one of the things I'm really pleased that our time together, you know, is the 12 weeks and is a long period, and that we revisit and repeat, because that's how I learn. I don't want to just hear things once and then I'm supposed to have absorbed it and applied into my life, because fuck, I can't remember even what I had for breakfast this morning. Never mind remember that, or remember what time I was supposed to call you. So the fact that we keep coming around to things is really useful, so that it embeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why I doubled the length of the program. So when I first launched it, it was 6 weeks, and I thought, not long enough.
No,
not long enough.
Not at all.
So I think it sounds like you're already embracing the All About You. You get a sense of what the guilt is, and you quite clearly understand that connection with resentment. So always imagine that it's a circle. If you feel one, then the other's coming. Yeah, they're like, it's like the scorpion's tail. You're gonna get stung. Once you've got one, the other will sting you.
Great. Yeah. I had to keep on putting myself first.
Yeah. And you know, when we talked about that on Friday, you remember, because I did another podcast. I love it that I have what we share feeds into. I think, I do that on a podcast.
Yeah, well, it's how we learn again. We've spoken about that, isn't it? It's really great where you teach what you learn what you teach. It's fabulous.
Yeah. So, you know, we talked about how putting yourself first is about, what do you want for you, not about, shall I have my hair done, shall I have a face pack? Yeah. Not that that's not all lovely, but those are cherries on the cake, not the cake. So I asked you to imagine an 8. Where is the number now?
I think I might be feeling an 8. I hadn't thought of it even till you asked me. I just kept on thinking, what if? But I feel like I'm making strides, really. And I know it's only a few days, but and I know this feeling, it's like I've tasted freedom almost. I've tasted something. I'm not going to let it go. I know what I know now. So I just hope that with practice, it just becomes embedded and more second nature.
It does, and it will. I've had clients who have become friends in the past, and I've had them recite back to me, oh, well, what that is a da-da-da. I go, wow, did I say that? So I can guarantee you'll be embedded.
Good, I'm glad.
So what's interesting, I'm glad you're feeling like it might be an 8, because that was actually a little hidden technique that I threw in there for you. By not saying, you know, I shifted it slightly, because we've been up until now going, well, what would it be like if it was higher? What would it be like if it was higher? What would it be like? What would you be doing? What would you be doing? So, and you were doing really well with that, but it is often a little bit of a mental jump. It's like, describe to me what it looks like on the other side of the wall when you haven't been to the other side of the wall. And so I recognize that there's always a potential for a little bit of a how do I get through this? And what you've just done is one of the trickery, jiggery, pokery ways that you get through the wall and you suddenly go, like you told me, do you remember you said, oh, I just, like, a door opened and I was through it? It's very much like that. So
I think it's also down to specificity, because I know we had spoken about, just looking, you know, you started with what a 10 would look like, and I said, oh, boundaries in place, and I don't overwhelm, cut myself some slack and things like that. And then I did a little bit of journaling with it, like, so what are my boundaries? And if I wasn't overwhelmed, what would they look like? I think I got that far, and that's where I was able to define what one would look like, and one of them was asking Chris to take more responsibility for the feeding of the animals. Yeah, so it was yeah, you're clever with your jiggery pokery. It was a good way to get me there. Thanks.
Yeah, so what you demonstrated is you combined the two, like having the two together was, you already, like, I've been going over the specificity every time, and then we did the Imagine the 10, and you, as you just recounted, those were the things that you put down, and then, you know, down to you, really good diligence of going back to it and going, okay, well, what are the specific examples? But also having the seed planted in your head, and I think I probably did express it that way, it's just plant the seed. Float the question in your own mind, what does 8 look like? What does it feel like? Don't do anything else with it. So that's there, feeding the answers to the questions. So we don't, you know, we can go to 9, but you might want to sit with 8 for a week or so.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep just allowing it to germinate. Don't overwork it. Just keep doing with the journal. Keep looking for specificity. Keep feeling into 8.
I think I might actually write a index card, just because I don't have post-it notes, and put it up somewhere that I can. I'm visual. I'm a visual person, definitely, that I can see it and remember every time I walk past to ask myself that, because that's pretty. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember to be creative, even more creative. So you could think, what does a pot look like that's an 8?
Yeah.
Because that will give you another connection. Do you remember all our desert that we're putting down the markers? Another version of a marker. Oh, what does a pot look like an 8? Because I'm certain you'll find a version.
And what, oh, I forgot, that's what I did this weekend, which was great. So part of what would an 8 look like, I had my talk, gave a talk today, and it was on creativity, which is quite funny because I've only recently discovered I'm creative, or understood that I've always been creative. But the weekend I decided was going to be, for me, I was going to relax and I was going to do what I wanted to do. And what did I want to do? I wanted to make the dress from the pattern and the material that arrived. And I had it cut out on the table like a week or so before. And I spent most of Saturday and a lot of Sunday sitting here and sewing. And I actually made a dress, like a tunic that you can actually wear with bias around here. I cut a pattern, I put in darts. I know what a fucking French seam is.
Wow.
Amazing. I mean, it doesn't look, I chose the wrong material and the colors and the color combination. It's not great. I even made pockets. Never made a pocket in my life. I even made pockets and sewed them on. One's inside out, of course. The other one's good. Yeah.
I love it.
2 days just being creative, sitting here, listening to my podcasts, going on YouTube, finding out how to, what is a French seam. I mean, who knew what a French seam was?
No idea.
Yeah, they're very good. I'm going to put French seams in everything. Yes, that's what I did. And that was part of the 8. What do I want to do with my time? What will bring me pleasure, with the focus, with the focus on me, really. And I know Chris was a bit lonely in the lounge on his own. And I knew that, and Sundays are the one full day we can spend together because he works on a Saturday morning. But in actual fact, he went and tinkered outside in the barn, which was good for him, which was really good for him. And then we stopped. Oh, he did my hair. I've gone from purple to red. He hennaed my hair for me, which we haven't done before. It's so messy and smelly. And then I had to sit with a bag on my head for 2 hours. And then I came back and finished off my sewing till my hair was done. And that's what we did on Sunday. It was glorious.
It sounds great.
That's what an 8 looks like.
Well, there you go. So it just shows when all you did was ask the question of what it looked like. And then your brain went, oh, why didn't you say? Why didn't you say? Because that's it, isn't it?
Yes. You should have just said, we could have been doing this years ago. I like that. I like that. It was very fulfilling. It might not have been relaxing because I didn't know what I was, it was hard. Everything was new. Everything that I did was new. And I had to relearn. I had, when the bobbin ran out, I had to get my little book and see how to feed a bobbin and wind it up. And, I've got a sewing machine, but it's not like I know how to use it or anything. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
I think that is such a huge achievement. And at no point did you do that thing which you had begun to do with the pottery of putting barriers in the way of, it needs to be perfect before. I mean, it's great.
It was very obviously not, perfect, but I did give myself a break. It's the first time I've ever done anything like it. And I know I'm really getting my head around just practice, go back and practice, go back and practice.
Nice.
And the more you do it, I can see that with my pottery, just in the last 3 weeks of doing pottery every week, I've improved. There's been an improvement in whatever areas. So it's really beginning to, and again, my poor brain is probably saying to me, you're such an arsehole. Why didn't you just do this years ago? I always took it so personally, almost like criticism so personally, like if it wasn't perfect the first time, then it means there's something wrong with me and I can't do it. Meanwhile, it's got nothing to do with me. It's about skills and learning, and you have to practice. And everybody will be shit until you practice. Well, some people will be more shit than others, but until you practice. So yeah, I'm really getting my head around that, which is life-changing.
It is. I mean, that's climbing Everest. Like, really big stuff. It is. You've been, tinkering in the foothills, and now, fuck me, is that a road up there with a flag?
And now I'm really resentful. I have to work when all I want to do is make art and be crafty.
Well, I'm really glad. That is another thing that I don't plan on any level ever, but I nearly always end up, the clients that I work best with, I might as well just put it in the ad. You know what I mean? Always end up being creative people. Always.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that kind of person. Well, obviously it is that kind of person who seeks out the help and knows. Because I've had friends that have had anxiety and stuff for years, and menopause, very obviously menopause, or not sleeping at night, and never did anything about it. Not a, anyway, that's for them. But I'm glad I'm here.
I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Yeah, it's all lovely. It's all lovely. So we've done guilt, we've done, so there's another little thing which I have done a little video in the Menopause Anxiety Freedom group on. And it doesn't really matter because you're sort of doing it, but it's just another way of labeling something, if you like. And you can, do this in your own unique way. Now, it's what I describe as insignificant moments of joy. Have I mentioned that before? Don't think I have I? No. Which is basically the small stuff. So everyone that does anything in mental well-being will go, it's really important to pay attention and celebrate the small stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I think that is a bit yada, 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 isn't it? Celebrate the small stuff. It's like, really? Whereas I'm just saying, pay attention to it, which is very different to celebrate it. And where you just described to me, and this is like my understanding of it, but you do what you want with it. So this little journey, which is a huge journey that you've been on these last few weeks, where you've gone, oh, I learned this in about pottery, about my kiln, and then I learned that, and then I learned that, and then I did some dressmaking and discovered, oh, actually I can do this, and I learned how to sew on a French theme, and I learned how to sew on a pocket, and all those little things separately might be described as what's the big deal in that then? But because they give you, I use the word joy.
I like joy.
Yeah. We want to keep, our markers in the desert. It's almost like put a little light on this particular marker. Let's light this one up from underneath. Let's demonstrate that this one's particularly important. Emphasizing all of those things so that the brain keeps being reminded, oh, this stuff is important. Because otherwise we lose it so easily. And you could go from that, and it may not matter, but you could go from making that dress where you've just done it in one day, and then a few months from now, you make someone's wedding dress. I'm not saying you will do that.
No, but yeah,
but something a million miles from what you've just done, and you can celebrate all of that. But I want people to always be able to access the little steps on the way as part of the journey.
As part of the journey, yeah. And I quite like, Jesus, you okay? I quite like turning it from, it's not like you have to celebrate it, but notice it, because sometimes it feels, what's the word? Can't think of the word. Sometimes it doesn't feel, I can't remember, when I celebrate the small wins, because I'm kind of faking it. I'm not really celebrating it.
Inauthentic.
Inauthentic, thank you. Yeah. Inauthentic. And I decided before the talk today, I'm not just going to give the talk and then move on to preparing the stress management workshop. I'm going to say, well done, and I'm going to celebrate a win, because it is another step for me on my journey. So I sat down and did a bit of reflection, and then I was sort of thinking back to stuff during the day, and I was making all these little small things and thinking, oh, I should celebrate it. It's a big win, and it's a big win. But actually it felt a little bit inauthentic. Whereas noticing the joy that I got from that thing is kind of you focusing on the feeling it gave you.
Yes.
Which is nicer, because you want more of that feeling. So maybe you'll do more of the stuff to get that feeling.
Yeah, that's precisely it. Yeah.
That's where that SPACE acronym comes in. This woman that I do some work with in the States, she calls these feelings, the sort of goodness, the yummy stuff that we're after, deep pleasure. And she has an acronym, SPACE, which is self-regard, doing stuff that gives you self-regard, peace, accomplishment, connection to yourself or others, and empowerment. And that is something that I like, and that's going to fit really nicely into looking for the joy in that one particular thing.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Good.
Celebrating doesn't feel right. It feels a bit false to where I don't feel like I'm really celebrating, but I am feeling
I mean, what
pleasure or peace about it.
Yeah, I think when people share that stuff, because a lot of people share this stuff third hand, like they learned that that's what you do because they read it in a book or someone told them, so they tell you because the research says blah, blah, blah.
That's right, yep.
But they don't understand the reason why they talk about celebrating is what they're really trying to do is stimulate a dopamine hit. Because when we naturally celebrate, when we go, I made this pot, you know, like when you showed me your little mark and you went, look.
Yeah,
that gives you a dopamine hit. And when we're menopausal, we're a little bit dopamine depleted.
Yes.
So doing more of that is what you're after. But you're right. If someone just says celebrate, we don't, and we're not understanding.
We're not understanding the whys or Yeah, that's true. And I'm going to remember that as well about the dopamine hit. And I have thought of it over the last few days. All of this stuff is at the moment very specific to menopause, because I didn't have, anxiety like I had last year before, or overwhelm like I have. It's definitely come with age. It's definitely come with menopause in the last year, and it helps me to remember that it's a real thing. Serotonin levels are really down, dopamine is really down, and I've got to find ways and work to get those levels up, which then just ties in nicely with all the other juicy stuff you would want to do in your life anyway, and the way you would want to lead your life anyway. But it's been, I suppose for a long time I was dismissive about perimenopause, and then even going into menopause, just because not everybody experiences it the same, and my girlfriend didn't, and but it's real and it's there, and it does affect me without a doubt.
I mean, it affects, I think many more women are going to realize they're affected by it, but you're right, some will seek help and some won't. But that'll be, I suppose, like anything in life, like some people will just go, my life is shit, and they'll tell you their life is shit every day of their life
and never do anything about it.
So why would it be different in menopause? So I mean, talking about the dopamine, one of the ways you could remind yourself, I'm just thinking, is your mug feeling, because then you've got the visual and the tactile connection.
That's nice. And I'm quite visual, and that's something it's an object that will bring it back to me. And I've started drinking tea out of it all the time instead of going for my bigger mugs, because actually, although, I can improve on the make of it, the size of it is really good, and my hand fits around really easy. The handle isn't perfect. I'll change that. But it feels really good, and I'm kind of falling in love with it a bit. As well, the form of it and the functionality of it, maybe not the look, but the form and the functionality of it. So okay, that will be my hit me with a mug of dopamine.
Every time you see that mug, every time you hold it, you're going to get a little mini rush.
I like that.
I like that too. Yeah, we should all have one of those. At least one. So the only other thing I want to share this week, or rather today, this week, because on Fridays we kind of randomly we go wherever you want to go.
Oh, it's Tuesday today. I keep on waiting for hypnotherapy, wondering when it's going to happen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I even text Chris and I said, be quiet when you come home.
Oh, no. Well,
okay, so thanks. It's Tuesday. Next time you could tell me before we started what day it was.
I did. We started there and I said to you, I was thinking, it's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. It's definitely Tuesday. Your weekend was good, wasn't it?
I'm a bit tired now. Yeah, I'm a bit tired today. I'm not functioning, as you can tell.
Yeah, but hopefully tired in a quite nice way.
No, in a good way.
Yeah,
in a very good way.
Yeah.
I feel good.
We can deal with that kind of tiredness.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry. You are now completely. I've just crushed your mug moment. I've just taken away your mug. No mug for you today.
I'm gonna have to go hold on to it as soon as we're done here and see what I can get out of it. Yeah.
You will. The other thing I was going to do with the scaling. Now you're moving up really nicely. So you're up there now. Again, all of this is optional. This is if it works for you, but you might use it as a kind of daily barometer for where you are. Not just for the sake of going, oh, I'm there, but to inform you through the day. So, you might just check in with yourself at 10 o'clock and go, oh, what number am I at? And then discover it's a different number to the number it is at 12. And it will amplify the information going in that helps specify what those different levels are. And then it becomes quicker and easier because we're informing the part of our brain that does things really fast, that it can move you more quickly to where you want to be. If you dip a bit, it's better informed about pathways that you're actually traveling on. There's also evidence that simply checking in with that number on a daily basis, consciously checking in, increases happiness. Who knew? Who
knew? Gosh, it was just that simple. Well, I'm up for giving that a go, definitely, because the last few days have been great. And I think what kickstarted was I don't know if it was the hypnotherapy last week asking me, to imagine a 10. I remember I was smiling, I was beaming so wide. I was thinking, oh, how wonderful it would be to be a 10. And, that's the carrot at the end of the stick, and that's the light at the end of the tunnel. It's nice to have something to work towards.
Yeah. And then when you get,
I can check in.
Yeah, or you can just use it as part of because you're being really active with your journaling. You could just build it into that. Could just be a once a day check-in, or it could be a meditative check-in, or whatever you like to check in.
I like that. Yeah, we'll build it into that because I've especially built in time in the morning for journaling, drinking my tea, and then meditating. So
nice.
Yeah. It's good. And I'm feeling better now. I think I'm pretty much fully recovered. So I'm back meditating again, which is great. I didn't feel that fabulous last week.
No. I'm glad you're feeling better again. Yeah.
Oh, Chris says he thinks it was COVID, but everybody thinks everything's COVID. And I'm back at work tomorrow. The garden centre's taken me off furlough, which is great as of this week. Because I thought, after Boris's announcement, I thought I'm going to be on furlough till, I don't know, April. So I'm back at work this week, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing colleagues again and all the new plants. And it's a nice time of year for planting and stuff. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
So busy, aren't they? Yeah. Nice. Well,
so
it's not Friday.
No, and it's not Friday. I can't believe it's not Friday.
Whoops.
Isn't it funny? After getting the time wrong this morning and then talking about you doubting yourself about it being a Tuesday, And me knowing it's a Tuesday and then thinking it's Friday afternoon in hypnotherapy.
No, I know, but that's how we work, isn't it? We get something lodged in our brain, and it just shows how the pathway works, doesn't it? Like, it's got all these connections. And you planted a seed this morning. So it's Friday, it's obviously.
I'm very glad that it's a Tuesday, which means I have Friday to look forward to.
You do. Yeah, I know today's a little bit more work, because you
have to think a little bit, and you're making me think while I'm tired. But I'm a big girl, I can handle it. So
well, and thank you for your contribution in the group as well. That's really lovely.
I definitely wanted to make a point and an effort of doing that without pushing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to call when she said, what work are you doing with Shirley? I thought, I don't know what you call it. So I just said the 12-week program. But has my course got I know it's called Crisis to Freedom, but is it the midlife reinvention? What am I doing?
It has been called, I have called it Crisis to Freedom. And I actually toed and froed a lot with the guy that was doing my marketing at the time. I was never completely sold on it. And I loved him dearly. He was lovely, lovely chap. But part of me was thinking, you're a man and you're in your 30s. What do you know?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I kind of allowed myself to be persuaded. And I still, it's okay. It's okay for now. But yeah, I think the way you described it was very diplomatically put. And I probably should.
Yeah, I just didn't know what to call it. And I didn't know, because I don't often look on that website.
No.
I mean, I haven't even had time to go through the midlife stuff on mine, on the one we have. But I didn't know whether that was something that they knew, that people know in that group is on offer and they can do. So how,
mostly they don't. The purpose of the group, I mean, I will from time to time, say if anyone wants to discuss working with me, get into But the purpose of the group really is, because if people feel like they're just going to go somewhere and someone's going to try and flog them something, and then they won't come.
Yeah, and I like that you're not trying to flog them something, but you could also be potentially sitting on clients
you're quite
that need help and would benefit from it.
Yeah, and I really valued what you did, and your timing was perfect, because I had a conversation, and this is one area where it's really, really difficult for me, because I'm not like just a business coach. You follow a process, and I still follow a process, but I was due to have a call with someone, and she is in a really, 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 really bad state, and needs to work with me, and kind of knows she does. But because she's in that state, she's making irrational decisions that relate to the money. And I know they're irrational. I'm kind of gently reminding it, but you can't push it too far, because you're then crossing that mental health divide of people in a vulnerable state. So I was just going to jump on the phone with her, on a call with her, and you posted that, and I said, look, just have a look. I don't know where she is with it. She may.
Fine, you plant a seed, and whether it bears fruition now or in a year or whatever, that's a nice way of doing it. All I can say is that last year, when I was, and I'd never experienced before, anxiety at such a level, I couldn't do anything, and I wouldn't have been able to do what I'm doing now with you if I'd been in that state.
Right.
The thing that got me out of that was the CBD oil. It's the only thing that worked. I tried HRT. I came off it again because it fucked with me, and I just thought I'll take my chances with menopause.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I did. My antidepressants don't make iota of difference to the anxiety levels. And I read somewhere that it's two very different things when you menopausal anxiety
Yeah, it is.
to the antidepressants, so they don't work. And a friend of mine, a guy, had been very anxious and had taken CBD oil and sworn by it. So I take it, and without a doubt, I don't know how or why, and I don't care. It's expensive, but I take it every day. I've got a little, dropper when you take a few drops or whatever, and that's it. And that is what's got me out of that worse, because I couldn't leave the house. I didn't want to get out of my pajamas. I was functioning in that I was going to work at the garden center, but I was coming, and I didn't tell them how I was feeling, so I could escape it. And I could put on a show. But as soon as I got home, I fell apart again. Weekends, not showering, same pajamas for 3 days. Carol came to visit because she was worried, and this, she doesn't do anxiety, so she has no idea. And she said, well, okay, let's just go for a walk with the dogs. I couldn't even walk the dogs. I didn't want to leave the house. And I had to say to her, I just want to sit here in the house with you in my pajamas and my unwashed hair. And I can't make lunch, and she made lunch for us. And I said, and I can't take the dogs for a walk because that just felt like too much. So I swear by CBD oil, and I'm really glad because I was on it for, a few months until, Carol was the one who put me in touch with you, I think in September. And then you didn't see my Instagram. I sent you a message on Instagram to say, I'm interested, and you didn't see it till, I don't know, a few months later or something.
I didn't. I apologize. I noticed with some of the people that are just getting into it, and I still don't know how it works really, but I didn't know what the paper airplane was.
Oh no, I ignored that for months. I had messages in there probably a year old. I had no idea what that was. I thought it was like an update or something. So that woman that's really struggling, I don't know how she's going to move on, but I now understand because we've all been anxious before, but this is very different. And I now understand what people mean when they say they're so anxious they can't do anything. And just an email or a question in an email or in a text, or somebody asking them something will just create the biggest overwhelm.
Yeah, completely. And that's what I try to point out to people, and I'm it's always better if if people can find me before they drop off.
Absolutely.
Because I've had people work with me that they're still in the jobs that they do, coping, but they're just kind of sliding down the wall. We've managed to turn it around, and then they're back into coping mode, which is great. But if people have dropped off already, it's hard.
It's interesting because I've only done it this way. I can't, like I said, I can't imagine, and I'm saying I wouldn't have been able to, I can't see how I would have been able to even start the work or face a Zoom phone call for an hour or something.
Yeah.
But then I need to remember everyone's experience is different, and maybe somebody in that situation would have a window if they were slightly different. So I don't know, but hopefully there's a seed planted for her and she knows. And I especially made sure that they knew, the two women, that before that I couldn't leave the house, and that I'm feeling so much better this year, so that there is a chance things can improve. It's a different journey for everybody, but things can improve. So
no, it's really helpful. It might be, as you say, it's different for everyone, and I'm loath, like for most people, because there are Facebook groups littered with try this supplement and try that, and I don't really want that in the group. But because you're a client already, if you wanted to share about the CBD oil and what the dosage is and stuff.
Do you mind?
No.
Okay, then I'm going to do it, because if it worked I tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
And if it worked for me, it might just work for somebody else.
Yeah. No, do it. Do it.
Okay, then I'm going to do it. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, have
All
a
right.
brilliant rest of Tuesday.
Stop it.
You'll be able to get me back.
I'll know it's Wednesday tomorrow because I'm working. So if I remember I'm working, then I'll know that it's Wednesday. That's easy. Tomorrow's sorted.
Excellent. Well, I'll see you on Friday when you will be able to go and sit in that.
And it will be 10 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah.
Not 4 o'clock on Friday like it was today. All right. Got it.
Don't
sorted.
my head on that.
Have a good week. Speak to you Friday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.